Have you ever seen someone who decides to cut out absolutely everything they like in the name of a supposed perfect financial life? He even looks like a character from an advertising app for expense control, excited, determined, believing that life will now get on track. The stickman starts full of energy, almost shouting, "Now yes, I'll save every penny. No coffee at the bakery, no movies with friends, no pizza on the weekend. Goodbye, little luxuries. Hello, wealth." For a few seconds, everything seems inspiring, as if he had discovered the great secret of success. But soon the scenario begins to crumble. Life is becoming gray, colorless, dull. He opens the refrigerator and finds only water and a wilted lettuce, which looks more like a sad ornament than real food. He opens his wallet and sees some coins thrown in, coins that lead nowhere, they only serve to remind him of emptiness. The days go by, and the initial motivation turns into silent frustration. What was supposed to be discipline becomes useless sacrifice. The smile he had at the beginning fades away, replaced by a lost, tired look, as if starting to wonder, is it really worth it? Because deep down, he realizes that he is not gaining anything. He is depriving himself of everything, and, in return, receiving ... nothing, no joy, no good memories, no moments to cherish. Just an empty life counted in pennies. After all, what victory is there in collecting change while losing all the moments that really gave meaning to everyday life? The stickman believed, with all conviction, that by cutting every little pleasure out of his routine, he would be taking a giant step towards the long-awaited financial freedom. He repeated to himself, "It's worth it. Just resist now, and then I'll reap the rewards." But the reality is different. He does not feel free, but imprisoned. It's as if he had built his own jail with bricks of absurd rules and, ironically, put the padlock inside. Every invitation from friends becomes an automatic no, a simple "let's go out." Already activates a financial danger alarm in him. The desire to eat ice cream, which should be something light and fun, turns into psychological torture. He looks at the popsicle cart, thinks about the price, remembers his goals, and is convinced that he is being strong by saying no. But in practice, it's only getting more bitter. The narrator, with irony, comments, "Congratulations, you did it. Now you have all the freedom in the world. ... 2. Be alone at home, eating plain rice and staring at the white wall. The promise of a peaceful future never comes because he lives in constant deprivation. The calendar goes by and nothing changes. The bank account remains similar, but the emotional account only increases. And the cruelest thing, he does not realize that he is sacrificing his life in exchange for pennies that have no real power of transformation. The prison he calls discipline is not freedom, it is just renunciation disguised as virtue, and here begins the real show of the absurd, the sequence of choices that looks more like a tragic comedy. The stickman is on his own mother's birthday, and everyone around is laughing, celebrating, singing happy birthday. The cake is cut, a generous slice is offered to him, and what happens? He refuses. With a straight face, he replies, "No thank you, I'm saving money." As if that slice was capable of ruining the financial empire he believes he is building. The scene is almost unbelievable. At another time, friends invite him to the movies to share laughter, comments after the movie, maybe even a shared popcorn. But he refuses again, preferring to stay home alone, glued to his computer screen, watching advertisements for miracle investments that promise quick riches, ironically, the same wealth that never comes. He says no to everything that could generate memories, funny stories, moments of affection, all in the name of saving a few coins. And at the end of the month, what's left? Coins that barely pay for a piece of gum, while the days go by blank. The irony grows with each refusal. The more he saves, the more he realizes that his life is shrinking. The logic is cruel and simple in the name of a future that may never come. He kills the present before his very eyes. And here's the tease. Do you want to live a life like that too? If not, subscribe to the channel, because here we will show you, without filter, why it is not worth exchanging happiness. 4 pennies. The stickman has always nurtured a simple but meaningful dream to visit that famous restaurant. The one that everyone talks about, where people leave full of stories to tell and memories to keep. He promised himself that one day he would, but that day never comes. There is always an excuse. Now is not the time to spend. Better wait for the next promotion when there is left over I will go. But this when there is left is never left. The months go by, the invitations get smaller, his friends start to go without him until one day they stop calling. Life moves on, but he stands still, trapped in his own fear of spending. And when he finally looks back, he realizes that he killed the small pleasures before he even tasted them. The restaurant became just a story told by others, and the dream died before it was born. The narrator enters firmly. Saving can be smart, of course, but when the economy is so radical that it buries your dreams still in the cradle, this is not planning ... This is self-sabotage. The great tragedy is that he believed he was being responsible, but deep down, he was just erasing the colors of his own life. And now I ask you, have you ever stopped living something you really wanted for fear of spending? Tell us, here in the comments. I want to know if you've ever felt this weight of exchanging experiences for pennies. Here, the stickman still believes he is in control of his own life as if he were a master of financial discipline, but in fact, he is just a hostage of his own fear. He is not free, as he has been so convinced. It is a faithful subscriber of a miserable life, like someone who pays for a streaming service and discovers that the only content available is a blank screen. Day after day, he collects coins as if he were accumulating power, but when he looks around, he realizes that he has nothing to tell. He collects numbers on his bank statement, but he doesn't collect memories. It avoids spending, but it does not avoid emptiness. It avoids simple pleasures, but it does not avoid loneliness. His life is a showcase of good choices that, in practice, have not yielded any reward. The narrator enters with that cutting irony. What's the point of having a bank account with a slightly larger balance? If the account of your life is zero in experiences, and it is at this point that the shock happens, he finally realizes that his entire strategy wasn't about saving money, but about saving happiness. By believing that I was winning, in fact, I was giving up the small victories that make life worth living. The big revelation falls like a weight. He didn't become richer, ... It has only become emptier. There comes an inevitable moment when the stickman simply falls apart. It is not a physical fall, but a silent implosion, as if all the accumulated effort collapsed at once. He looks around and sees a glaring emptiness. No special dinner he could remember fondly, no simple trip that left funny memories, no gift given to a loved one that had lit up a smile. What remains are only accumulated frustrations, like a pile of paid bills with no story behind them. And here comes the cruelest scam. All that money saved never turned into the fortune he imagined. The dream of a better tomorrow turned out to be just that tan, unattainable dream that stole the best moments from the present. His downfall is not financial, but emotional. It is the weight of life not lived, of experiences that never happened because there was always the excuse that it was not time to spend. At that moment, he gets real, and the narrator enters with force, bringing the phrase that summarizes the drama. It wasn't worth cutting everything, because, in the end, I didn't get rich, ... I was just empty. The contrast is brutal between expectation and reality. While he believed he was building a solid life, he was only building walls around himself. Wealth never came, but loneliness and a sense of emptiness came. Too soon. Now the stickman arrives at the crossroads he has always tried to avoid. After so many renunciations, so many excuses, and so many no's that killed his own desires, he needs to face the truth. Either he continues to live as a collector of useless coins, saving pennies as if they were trophies of a meaningless battle, or he finally decides to balance his life and spend on what he loves. The dilemma is heavy because the penny dropped too late. He realizes that no one will return the lost years, no one will reopen the invitations he let slip, no one will reheed the dreams that were frozen for fear of spending. And here the narrator enters with a direct provocation. The final choice is always yours. You can keep saving until the last shred of joy, or you can choose to live, understanding that the pennies you save don't buy back the time that has passed. The contrast is clear. It's not about spending everything or going into debt, but about learning that balance is worth. More than radicalism, the stickman faced with this reflection finally understands that the biggest loss is not losing money. It is to lose one's own life without having lived. And now I leave the question in the air. Will you choose to repeat his mistake or learn before it's too late? The answer is in your hands. And if you want to keep reflecting on it, don't leave here. Click on the video that's playing on your screen right now, because it will show you exactly how these choices may be.